president of the League of Women Voters, and I'd like to welcome you on behalf of the League of Women Voters. I'd like to welcome the candidates, the audience, and those viewing at home. Thank you for being here. The League of Women Voters is holding this forum for citizens to learn about the candidates, compare and contrast the issues and their ideas, as well as meeting them in person. As a nonpartisan organization, the League does not support or oppose candidates or political parties. We encourage informed and active participation in government. We encourage others to get involved in their political parties. But both men and women who are interested in learning about a variety of issues may enjoy membership in our League, and membership information is out in the hall on one of the tables out there. Or you could see Mary Anderson, who is standing in the back right by the door waving. Thank you, Mary. She's our membership. Golden Valley is the statutory B city. I'm saying that because our city council candidates are part-time positions. It doesn't feel like it sometimes because there's a lot of work there. But the city manager runs the city. He is the chief executive officer or administrative officer. The city council hires the city manager. They set the directions and policies and ordinances for the city with input from residents and recommendations from city commissions and staff. The city council members are elected at large, meaning that they represent the city as a whole. The annual salary for a city council member is about $8,700 a year. On Election Day, Tuesday, November 5th, Golden Valley citizens will vote for 3 council member seats. 2 seats are for the 4-year terms, for which there are 9 candidates, and then 1 seat is the special election for the 2 years remaining in the seat left by Mike Freiberg when he was elected to the Minnesota House of Representatives. There's Mike over there. There are 2 candidates running for that seat, and you will see them up front here, John Giese and Steve Schmidtko. If you are new to the city or if you've moved since the last election, you can register at City Hall or online. The online site is minvotes.org. You can write that down. It's MNVOTES.org. And it's a link to the Secretary of State's website and will tell you if you're registered, your polling place, etc. Now, I'm pleased to introduce Adi Wickstrom, who will be our moderator tonight. She's a member of the Shoreview League of Women Voters and a Shoreview City Council member. Thank you, Adi, for volunteering to moderate this forum, and she will explain the format of tonight's forum.
Thank you, Marty. Set up here so I can fall all over here. Well, good evening. Before we go any further, I'd like everybody to take out your cell phones and make sure they're turned off. I don't want to hear any phones go off during this forum. Okay? All right. Tonight's forum is divided into 2 parts and will last for 2 hours. Part 1 will be the candidates for the 2-year term. After a very brief break, we'll hear from the 9 candidates running for the 2 4-year seats. The candidates will be seated in alphabetical order, but the opening question will begin with the person who drew the number 1 spot and will rotate after that. We drew lots earlier. The format begins with the candidates responding to the questions sent to them earlier by the League of Women Voters. That will be followed by written questions from the audience. Finally, there will be 1-minute closing statements. Please raise your hand to request a card or to turn one into a League usher. We will ask as many questions as possible, consolidated by issue if necessary, and all candidates will be given the opportunity to answer each question. We will not necessarily ask the same question of both sets of candidates. We may or may not. The choice of questions will be made by me in good faith effort to reflect the interests expressed by this audience. Please remember that while respectful disagreement with a candidate's position is fine, but personal attacks are not allowed. If your questions were not answered, please talk to one of the candidates after the forum tonight. The 2 candidates vying for the special election for the 2-year seat are John Giese and Steve Schmidtko. We're here. Please join me in welcoming them. We have timekeepers so that everyone has the same amount of time to respond to the questions. The timekeeper will hold up a card when there are 15 seconds left and a stop card when the time is up. We will ask that you finish your sentence and stop at that point. Do not run on and on. You can finish your sentence a few words or so. Okay. The opening question is, Why are you running for Golden Valley City Council, and what are your qualifications? You will have 1.5 minutes to respond, and the first candidate to speak is John Giese.
Thank you. First of all, thank you to the League of Women Voters and for everyone showing up here tonight and watching at home. My name is John Giese, and I'm a 20-year resident of Golden Valley. I have been proactive in the city throughout a long time, coaching Little League Baseball, serving on commissions and boards, and currently serving as a Master Sergeant in the Minnesota Air National Guard. By being a proactive resident, I have proven that I care about this city and what happens to it. I also have a great sense of where the city needs to be in the next 20 to 20 years and would be a great asset in choosing our next city manager in 2015. I'm a Golden Valley business owner, and I would be instrumental in reducing the current city debt and create a better sense of community by promoting cultural events that break down ethnic and racial barriers. Our park system is also of value to me. Now we're working evaluating the current equipment to find solutions that work for each individual neighborhood. Also, the current council has been a bit divided over the past 2 years, and I want to help change that by building bridges and creating a team-like atmosphere, not based on political philosophy, but rather collaboration for the good of the city. So please listen carefully tonight and check out my website at johngiese.com. That's JOHNGIESE.com. And I look forward to tonight's forum with Steve. Thank you.
Okay. And Stephen Schmigdal?
First of all, thanks to the League of Women Voters for this opportunity to talk about Golden Valley's future. I want you to join me. I want you to vote for me, Steve Schmidtgall, on November 5th for the Golden Valley City Council. I want you to join me as we continue the work that we started when I was on the Golden Valley Planning Commission to continue to build the future of Golden Valley as we have done while I've served on the City Council. We have some significant developments going on in Golden Valley right now. One example is the luxury Arcata Apartments. I spoke to a retired couple in the Hidden Lakes neighborhood. They're eager to move into that building, which is currently under construction. We're also improving Douglas Drive and Highway 55 to make them safer, more visually appealing, and more accommodating for cars and pedestrians. These and other developments are going to create economic vitality for our community, jobs, and a robust tax base. As far as qualifications, I've been 25 years building this community with you, including the Golden Valley Planning Commission, the District 281 Financial Advisory Council, and the Golden Valley City Council. I have a master's degree in business administration and a bachelor's degree in environmental design. Join me. Vote for me on November 5th for Golden Valley's future.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now for the first question submitted by the audience. And Stephen Schmidgall, you will answer this first. Golden Valley is divided geographically by major highways, 155. Do you have any ideas of how to reconnect our neighborhoods?
It wasn't too long ago I was at the Envision committee meeting over at Courage Center, and one of the issues that was worked on at that session was to expand Golden Valley Days by first establishing a mission statement for the event, and then the intent was to grow the event over a period of years to occupy multiple venues around the entire city. Now things like that are one way we can build community. Another way is we have talked, and this is really a long-range deal, but it appeals to me. We've talked about depressing parts of Highway 55 so that we can have plazas that cross over Highway 55 to physically join parts of the city together. I also spoke to a resident who would like to have some kind of a connection between Worth Park and the downtown area of Golden Valley as well. So.
Okay, and John Giese?
Well, as far as geographically goes with the highways, that presents a problem. If there was any type of state funding or federal funding to put any more pedestrian bridges from one side of 55 to the other, that would be an option. But overall, it kind of falls right into my my theme of, sponsoring more cultural type events. I've been walking around, and we have a lot of different people from around the globe that have moved into Golden Valley in the past 5 years. Just like years ago at the, turn of the century when the Germans and the Irish and the Polish came over, there was all types of festivals, and everybody came together and everybody kind of learned about all these different cultures and where they came from. And I think today we have people here from Somalia and all different parts of the world, China, Philippines. I think it would be great that that's an opportunity to have where you don't have to spend any government money on it. It's just a matter of getting people from those communities to come out, bring food, bring dance, and just bring people together. To break down misconceptions.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next question. PRISM is Golden Valley's food shelf. What should the city's role be in supporting the nonprofit organizations within its boundaries? And Mr. Gacy, you start this one first.
Well, I think the important part there is to bring awareness to it. People at, council members and the mayor at council meetings throughout the year can make announcements. We could have food drives to hold a city council meeting perhaps, and, you bring in 2 or 3 cans of food or some beans or something, and, at the end of the meeting, we show what we do, as far as Golden Valley residents. I know years ago there was a lot of speculation about the deer and whatnot, and I think they grew that program into when they unfortunately had to eliminate some deer within the city boundaries, that meat was processed and it was given to people that needed something to eat. So I think the city already has done a few things that have been proactive in that approach, and I think it's a matter of bringing it up awareness-wise and getting people involved to also help out at the food shelves.
Okay. And Stephen Schmidt-Gall?
I was on the Planning Commission when PRISM came before us and wanted to build an automobile repair shop at their location down along 394. I voted for that. The Planning Commission ultimately recommended approval of that to the City Council, and that has come to pass. They're now able to accept automobile donations and refurbish those automobiles and make them available to low-income families. We also have the Golden Valley has a Human Services Fund. We always say that name real slow because it changed recently, and that makes use of a portion of pull tabs that we collect in the city, and those have been millions of dollars have been given to charitable organizations that serve residents of Golden Valley over the years.
Okay. The next question, in what way is your vision for Golden Valley different from the Golden Valley of today? And Stephen Schmidt-Gall, sorry, I'm having trouble with that. You start.
I had a really gratifying conversation with a resident of Golden Valley, and I see him sitting out here. And we talked about having the Planning Commission plan for the city 25, even 50 years into the future. When I was on the Planning Commission, I used to refer to it as the Plan Commission because it seemed like the plan was given to us, and our job was to apply it to the various issues that came before us. I would like to see our Planning Commission actually do some planning, and I'd like to see them doing planning out 25 and 50 years. Major portions of our city are built up, but we do have some excellent opportunities. We're a first-ring suburb. We have excellent highway access and transit access. There are still some very good opportunities in our community, and I would like to see us looking that far out to realize those.
Okay, and John Gacy.
Well, I was speaking with the city manager this week, and we were going over the budget and all types of other things, and he brought up something that he's going to implement before he retires. Currently, the capital improvement plan is on a 5-year plan. He's talking about putting that to a 10-year plan, which I think is an excellent idea. This has everything to do with our buildings and trucks and playground equipment to shelters to Brookview Community Center. So I think there's already some stuff in the works. And as far as myself goes, knowing this city and talking to residents as I door knock, I think I have a pretty good feel where we need to head. When you talk about development and all that types of things, we also have to keep in mind that we run under kind of the Met Council umbrella too with their comprehensive plan. So it's not like we can just say, we're going to go out and do this, or the planning commission's going to want to do this, we have to fall under certain guidelines, unfortunately. And even though the Met Council isn't an elected office, they have the authority to tax. So that plays in the role quite a bit.
Okay. And the next question, and John Giese will start this one. These days, it seems that residents want more services but do not want additional taxes to pay for them. How would you address this challenge?
Well, it all depends on the services people expect. There's an issue that I find that we really have to look at, and it's going to be a hard decision to make, is, every winter we plow the sidewalks. And we're adding more sidewalks in the city. Now, me growing up in Chicago, I shoveled the sidewalk because I know the dad made sure I was out there doing it. So we have to really look and really look at our comprehensive plan and what we do and how we spend our money and see, are some things really wisely being spent on. And some of these decisions are going to be tough to make. And they may not be popular, but it takes a guy or a woman to come up here as a council member and to make some of those tough decisions, and I think I have that ability to do that.
Okay.
We recently had a survey of 400 random Golden Valley residents, and Golden Valley services were rated 90% across the board. Police protection, fire protection, streets, water, parks and rec, you name it. That was astonishing. Even the people that did the survey were amazed. And yet we've managed to keep our taxes level for the last 2 or 3 years. And that's one of the things that I'm very concerned about, is us being able to keep up that high level of service while maintaining level taxes. And we are very frugal on the city council. We've done many things to avoid raising taxes. We would like to have added a property inspector for next year, but it just wasn't in the budget, so we're going to have to forego that. We've spaced out equipment purchases. We've spaced out the pavement repair program and other things to maintain those level taxes, and yet the level of services that Golden Valley residents expect.
Okay. And the next question, Stephen Schmidgall, you will start this one. What is your position on light rail in Golden Valley?
There are people in this room that would look out there and decide how angry everybody looks, and then they would say, kind of an angry crowd. I guess I would say that there's one more final vote near the end of 2015 or the beginning of 2016. And but I'm not going to do that. The more I learn about the Bottineau Transitway project, the more excited I am about the opportunities that could present to Golden Valley. It'll present, obviously, the economic vitality and the jobs and the development that I talked about earlier. But to me, it kind of started with a shrimp po' boy sandwich that I had down at the Sea Salt restaurant in the Minnehaha Park. A private enterprise in a public building, in a public park, served by light rail transit. And in my vision for that part of Golden Valley, we could see a significant amount of that, and I think it'll be very nice.
Well, I've walked quite a bit of Golden Valley, and I walked Kewanee Way, which is right there in front of it. I walked Bassett Creek and Kyle Avenue, and I've heard my share of Bottineau Light Rail. It was interesting because last weekend when I walked Kewanee Way, I talked to probably 8 homeowners that were home that day, and probably 4 of them were for it. And that's going to be putting right in front of their house. I do have some concerns with the Bottineau Light Rail. I would never make a decision until I saw the environmental impact study. I'm not one to just jump on board or something. I want to weigh facts, look at everything, look at the financial aspect of it before I make any type of decision. There are some wetlands there that I walked and I saw with ducks and geese and everything there. And there are federal and state laws that protect those wetlands. So that's going to be quite interesting to see how they develop a plan to put a light rail over there. The current rail that's currently there, whether you know it or not, Minnegasco, when they're done with their plates, their nuclear plates, they come down that rail. So there's other issues.
Okay. And the next question, what is your position on single hauler for garbage pickup?
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's another hot topic.
That would sneak some in.
Being a small business, Golden Valley business owner myself, I have a guy that I use, Michael P. Hall, that picks up my garbage. And I don't mean to put a little thing in there for him, but from what I understand, Mike grew up in Golden Valley. He's a small business guy. He probably has about 3,000 customers in Golden Valley. And I guess I'm biased toward the smaller business owner. So I wouldn't necessarily want some big corporation to come in here, underbid everybody, get the contract, and then 2 or 3 years later jack their prices up because they can. I think the system we have now can be worked with. We can maybe put it into sectors where we pick maybe 3 different haulers and make sure it's spread out for small business or minority business owner, women. I mean, there's all types of options we can do this, and we can also create actually more opportunity for small business people.
Well, we're out of time. I happen to know from that same survey that 70% of Golden Valley residents are opposed to single hauler. However, there's a new state law, and I went with Janine Clancy over to the League of Minnesota Cities one day to learn about that. The new state law mandates a 60-day negotiation period with current haulers in the city. And in my mind, that provides a fair amount of protection for the small businesses. The one main issue I would have with consolidated hauling, as my opponent mentioned, is the impact that it might have on smaller haulers. But I feel that this mechanism that the state has put in place provides some protection there. But my main thing is cost. It simply cannot be cheaper for Michael Hall to pick up a trash can over here and one over there and one over there than it would be for one hauler to just come down the street and dump all down the street. And that would be something I believe we could realize by doing that.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's me. It's my turn. Okay.
We get to make up
It's harder with 2 candidates, believe me. Would you be willing to compromise rather than get nothing?
That would be me?
No. Steve Schmigel.
Yes, I would be willing to compromise. I have really demonstrated the ability to work well with every member of the current city council since I've joined the city council last January. I also know many of the candidates that are running for the 4-year seats, and I believe I could work very effectively with those people. And part of what we have governments for is so that we can collaborate and we can work together with residents, with city staff, work together as a city council. And that's part of the process is to compromise on occasion.
Yeah, I think you have to. I mean, just look at the nature of Washington, D.C. today. You know, I mean, it's in disarray. I mean, I'm a veteran of war, and I take special heed when I read the paper today and find out that, war dead from Afghanistan can't even have the proper financial support. You know, they're bringing them to Dover Air Force Base. There's no money to send the families there to receive them. There's no money to bury them. There's no money to give the family to bury them. So I take special place as far as when it comes to cooperating when you're in government. You know, it's not a everyone takes all type of attitude. And I think with my skills as communication and with talking and with working with people, and I've shown it in the city before with organizing the first Memorial Day parade with over 2,000 people attending in 2010. You know, I've been active when Minneapolis water was going to become a well system. So I've shown that, I can cooperate and I would be very good with collaboration.
Okay. We're out of time for questions, so now we're going to move to the closing statements. We're going to switch so that the person that opened will go second on the closing statements. So that means Stephen Schmigel, you will start with your closing statement.
Once again, I invite you to join me by voting for me on November 5th for the Golden Valley City Council. I invite you to join me in pursuing progressive development for Golden Valley. I invite you to join me in keeping the level of city services high without increasing taxes. I invite you to join me in a collaborative style of government where the City Council works together as a team with city staff, with residents, to build a better future for Golden Valley. I invite you to join me in planning 25, even 50 years into the future so that our children's children can say proudly, Golden Valley is my home. I invite you to join me by voting for me on November 5th for Golden Valley City Council for Golden Valley's future. Thank you.
Thank you again. Thank you for everyone for attending tonight. You know, you're going to see a lot more of us on your doorsteps in the next 3 weeks. I encourage you to come out to vote. I really do. I have a passion for this city. And unfortunately, during this type of election, it has the lowest voter turnout in Golden Valley. And it affects you the most. Presidential election in Golden Valley is one of the highest in the state. Yet this election seems to be one of the lowest. And we all work hard. Steve's out there banging on doors. I'm banging on doors. We're all trying to vie for your vote and tell you where we come from. And it's important to be part of that process. So as one who's been actively involved in the city, again, with coaching Little League, to organizing parades, to getting involved as a community organizer for this thing and that thing, I really encourage you to go to my website at johngiese.com. That's JOHNGIESE.com. Read about what the things I've done. If you got any questions, please contact me. That's what I like to do. I like to talk, I like to engage, and I like to collaborate. So again, thank you very much, and thank you all for coming.
Okay. Member candidates. Okay, and now we're going to take a 5-minute break. We're going to start again at 7:30, and we ask that the candidates for the 4-year terms please be seated at this time. So thank you very much. To the live broadcast forum. I'd like to thank everybody for submitting your questions. Unfortunately, we've got way more questions than we can answer, but we've tried to pick out a representative group of them so that you can get an idea of where the candidates stand. Again, I encourage you to ask candidates questions afterwards if you have further questions. Okay, we have 9 candidates. Are all here? Wow, okay, very good. Okay, our candidates are Larry Fonest, Simon Gottlieb, Bob Hearns, Greg Kivett, Chris Miller, Jillian Rosenquist, Paul Schofield, Jacqueline Smith, and Andy Snope. Let's welcome them. Okay, and where's my list? Gotta have this. Sorry. Okay, the candidate that drew first is Greg Kivett, so he will speak first. After that, we're going to rotate in alphabetical order throughout, including the closing statement. So if you started first, if the person next to you started first in alphabetical order, you will be first on the next one. Okay. You'll have 1.5 minutes to respond to the opening question that was sent earlier by the Golden Valley League of Women Voters. And that question is, why are you running for Golden Valley City Council, and what are your qualifications? And Greg Kivett, you will start, please.
Thank you. Great to see everybody here. I like to see a good turnout. I like to see a lot of interest in the community. I've lived and worked in Golden Valley for about 17 years. I raised my family here, one through the Hopkins system, one through the Manila State Market system. I've been in senior IT management, senior level budgeting, senior level project management. I've been a community volunteer for EMT, National Ski Patrol, also the Minnesota MS Society. I'm running because I want to put the people of Golden Valley first. I think that the people of Golden Valley are the best ones to know how they want their city to look, function, and feel. I think it's important that we take the time and money to continue to support our public safety and infrastructure that helps our city function so well. I want to look at assessing projects going forward, not only how they look now, but for the long-term future. Earlier, people were talking about 20 and 50 years. If it looks good today, that's great. How is that project or change going to function 5, 10, 20, 30 years from now? We have a limited number of resources. Everybody is concerned about taxes. We have a limited amount of space. I want to make sure that all of those resources, manpower, space, money, is spent to the best benefit of the people of Golden Valley.
Okay, Chris Miller.
Good evening. Thanks for the opportunity to be here. Appreciate everybody showing up. It's really neat to see 9 people up here running for city council in a room full of folks as we head into the election. I'm running because I want to become a part of the city leadership. I want to keep that common sense approach here at the City Hall at Golden Valley. All of us running really owe a debt of gratitude to those that we're following in the Golden Valley, because they really left us a clean house that we get to inherit. I've been in Golden Valley for 9 years, and I used to drive past my neighborhood that I'm in off of Glenwood occasionally just to see some of the homes in there. And one day I stopped at a house that was for sale. The guy saw me. He let me come through his house. That was a Saturday, and on Monday I bought it, and I've been there ever since, and I think I'll be there for the foreseeable future. Golden Valley is a great place, and I want to keep it that way. And again, that's really one of the reasons I want to run. Taxes are one of the things that come up often when people are up here talking about this. If we look at the height of the market back in 2008, my property has come down 21% in estimated market value, but my taxes are higher. So that's an increase. We have to really protect that, because I've seen a couple of families forced out of Golden Valley because of property taxes. So I want to make sure that we stop the slow creep of budget increases. And again, with a finite budget, it is difficult, and some difficult choices that are going to have to be made for that. But with selfless leadership, we will make sure that all the decisions take Golden Valley and its residents into account first. Thank you.
Okay. And Jillian Rosenquist.
This summer, I got calls from a wide range of community leaders encouraging me to run for City Council. They know me from my involvement in the civil life of Golden Valley, from Moms Club of Golden Valley to the schools, to the local sports leagues, to local campaigns and volunteering. My knowledge and ideas for Golden Valley led to my appointment on the Open Space and Recreation Commission. I bring to council a proven ability to bring people together, lead organizations, and improve how they function. I'm a lawyer turned homemaker who has used her free time to serve Golden Valley. I'm known as a moderate, both independent and pragmatic. I'm not endorsed or concerned by any party or party politics. I think I speak for those of us who are in the middle, who are embracing of diversity, socially engaged, and concerned about spending. Stepping back from big firm law practice to raise our children on one income has given me an appreciation for fiscal modesty and the tightness of household budgets. My husband runs a small commercial construction company, and through him I have some knowledge of the challenges that businesses face. Over 11 years ago, we chose to live in Golden Valley. We've invested in our home, are raising our children here, and plan on staying for decades. I'm running for council to represent those who want to keep Golden Valley an evolving, unique, and vital community to live, work, and play. Thank you.
Okay, and Paul Schofield.
Hi, I'm Paul Schofield, and I'm running for Golden Valley City Council to ensure that we homeowners and taxpayers have a strong advocate on the City Council. As residents, we value Golden Valley as a great place to grow up, to grow old, or to grow a business. We should treasure it as a haven of small-town virtues among big city neighbors. We don't need big changes. We need modest improvements that meet our needs, not someone else's demands. Our government officials and engineers must remain our employees and not become our bosses. I will put us first in Golden Valley. Even more than any abilities I might have or experiences, I believe that in my very typical experience, raising 3 kids, paying the mortgage on my home, and commuting daily to work at a business give me good perspective for a city councilor. I've lived here since 1997. Like almost any other resident of Golden Valley, my perspective is exclusively as a customer of services that our city provides or contracts out. I've never worked for the city. I don't have any affiliations in public safety, public works, or the construction trades. For the past 20 years or so, I've worked by day as a financial analyst and computer systems developer. I have also taught math and statistics. I know numbers and can balance a budget. Again, I'm Paul Schofield, and you can learn more about me and many of Golden Valley's issues at paulschofield.org. Thank you.
And Jacqueline Smith.
Good evening. My name is Jacqueline Smith, and I'm asking for your vote this November 5th. That's a Tuesday, 2013. I want to thank the League of Women Voters for having us here. It's awesome. It's a great opportunity. And I wanted to thank everyone for coming out here. That's awesome. I've never seen such a big crowd at any of these events, so thank you for coming out here. I am a longtime resident of Golden Valley. I have a son who's 13, and he plays football with Armstrong Cooper football right now. I've coached and helped him with baseball and basketball, and I'm also a scout leader, so my son is 2 ranks away from Eagle with Scout Troop 268 at Valley of Peace. I believe in common sense, responsible spending. I would like to make informed, sound-minded decisions, not feel-good decisions. I think we have, in watching some of the attending and watching some of the city council meetings, we spend a lot of time on feel-good type things. We need to get things done here in Golden Valley. I have a great concern about light rail coming in. Light rail is about 9 blocks away from my house. I'm concerned because Hennepin County can't give us an estimated. They're just giving an estimates to costs, and I've been told several times that there's a study on the environment. I cannot find that anywhere. I've talked to 15 people. I've made phone calls. I can't find how this is going to affect our environment. So thank you again for being here.
Andy Snow.
Thank you. I want to thank the League of Women Voters for putting this together tonight, and all the people that showed up tonight and are watching on TV. Thank you very much. I'm a 15-year resident of Golden Valley. I live here with my wife, Gretchen, my son, Jacob, and my daughter, Xiaoche. Golden Valley is a great place to live. And I will be a council member who will listen before I make decisions. And I'll make all the decisions, even the tough ones. What makes Golden Valley great is its people. I enjoy getting out into the community and listening to my neighbors and discuss the issues that are important to Golden Valley. It's It's been very rewarding to get out on the doors during this campaign and hear what people have to say. I enjoy I believe that everyone should be treated with respect and should be given equal opportunities, equal rights. Currently, I serve on the Human Rights Commission, and that's something that I really enjoy. It's a great place for me to be. I was raised to find good in everyone. Everyone has a story to tell. We just have to slow down long enough to listen. Only then we can truly educate and enrich ourselves. And I think that's an important factor for a council member, and that's what I will bring to the city council, is that openness. I'm involved in our community. I've been volunteering in different activities around the city, not just sitting on the Human Rights Commission. I have been attending council meetings for the last couple of years and been really listening and following the issues. And I think I have a lot to lend to what the discussion is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Larry Fonest.
Thank you. I want to extend my thanks to the League of Women Voters and to the audience this evening for taking the time to come out and hear the positions that we have to share with you. I've been in Golden Valley for 17 years. It's a place I call home, and I feel very grateful for this city and all of the qualities that it presents. I've been an active member in the community. I started the Night to Unite event in my neighborhood. I actively participated in the Envision of Golden Valley process that developed the city's vision statement, and I currently serve on the Golden Valley Board of Zoning Appeals. I have an undergraduate degree in political science and a master's degree in natural resource management from the University of Minnesota. Over my career, I've held management positions in the nonprofit, private, and public sectors with oversight on budgets exceeding $10 million. Currently, I'm a small business owner with 18 employees, and I can assure you I appreciate the value of a dollar. In past careers, I've worked with the state of Minnesota as the director of the Minnesota Conservation Corps, a statewide program that engaged young people in conserving our state parks, forests, and waterways. I also served as the executive director of the Minnesota Commission on National and Community Service, overseeing AmeriCorps. My years of leadership have provided me with the experience, the temperament, and the skills needed to be an effective city council member. Thank you.
Thank you. Simon Gottlieb.
Hi there. I've lived in Golden Valley for 18 years, and I've loved every minute of it. I'm a graduate of the Hopkins Public School System, of which I'm a big proponent. And as a kid, I participated in the fantastic park and recreation programs such as Golden Valley Little League and youth basketball, so I've come to appreciate many of the things that this wonderful city has to offer. And I want your kids to have the same opportunities that I had. Growing up in Golden Valley helped shape the person that I am today, and so it is my responsibility to protect the quality of life we have come to appreciate and expect. But in order to do this, we must be committed to making intelligent and thoughtful decisions between the economics of a proposed project and the impact it will have on its citizens. I have been exposed to city politics through my family from an early age, and little did I know that being dragged to city council meetings as a young kid would ignite a passion and spark an interest in the political process that has led me here today. I graduated college with a degree in political science, which was followed up with several political internships. I just took the law school admission test this past Saturday, which was more brutal than any campaign could ever be, and I hope to attend the University of Minnesota for law school. As you can probably tell, I'm the youngest candidate in the field, which has its benefits. I'm not jaded, I ask questions, I love to learn, I don't take anything for granted, I have no hidden agenda, and I'm not beholden to anyone. My loyalty lies with the citizens of Golden Valley, period.
Okay, and Bob Hearns.
Thank you, Ms. Wickstrom. Let me join the other candidates in thanking you and the League of Women Voters for holding this important event tonight. As a lifelong resident of Golden Valley, I'm running for the Golden Valley City Council to work on preserving and advancing the outstanding quality of life that we've come to expect in our community and from our city government. Toward that end, if I'm fortunate enough to be elected, I will advocate for a proactive approach in attracting and engaging potential developers to Golden Valley, working to ensure that Golden Valley has multi-generational housing options available to attract young growing families to our community, while providing seniors with options to remain in the community when they choose to downsize. I will support efforts to conduct a comprehensive evaluation of our park and recreation facilities, including Brookview Community Center, with the goal of developing a facilities restoration plan that will allow us over time to affordably rehab our park and recreation infrastructure to support quality recreation programming into the future. And I will support city and community engagement in public transportation planning efforts, including the Botanow Transitway, to ensure that Golden Valley residents and businesses have a voice in shaping access to reliable, quality, and safe public transportation options. I believe that my experience working for the City of Golden Valley and the Police and Fire Department for 30-plus years, most recently as police chief, my experience as a twice-elected school board member for the Robbinsdale area schools, and my professional experience as a manager in the private sector over the last 6 years has provided me with a solid foundation to effectively represent the citizens of Golden Valley beginning on day one. I look forward to sharing my views on the issues of interest to our audience at tonight's forum. Thank you.
Okay. Now we will go to the first question, and the questions will be 1-minute responses. And Chris Miller will start this one. The City of Crystal recently installed solar panels on their community center. Should Golden Valley make that happen?
My first thought is no, unless there's a real financial reason to do so. I think that sometimes people want to take on some of these projects because there's an environment out there where it's appropriate, if you will, to do green type things. For example, I believe the city, Minneapolis, put a $500,000 green roof on City Hall. I don't think that the long-term benefit is there to pay off for installing solar panels. There's a lot of infrastructure cost that goes into that. So I wouldn't be for something like that unless there was a pressing need for those systems to be updated, and then it should be looked at as an alternative.
Okay. And Jillian Rosenquist?
Hi, I think this is a wonderful opportunity for us to engage the community of Crystal, find out more about it, to engage our residents, to find out their opinions and their willingness to extend our budget or accommodate it in our budget. I must say, my husband is a specialist in green roof technology, so Minnesota Green Roof Council, so I have a little advantage and a little bit of a bias towards some of those really interesting technologies, and I do know that they can be real investments that pay off in the long term.
Okay. Paul Schofield?
Would you repeat the question, please?
The City of Crystal recently installed solar panels on their community center. Should Golden Valley make that happen?
I guess they're not saying that we should make the panels occur on their community center.
I'm assuming someplace in the community.
Oh, somewhere in Golden Valley. Okay,
would,
that happened.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm not sure if there is the money for such a project, perhaps. I don't think that we should. I would generally say that such projects are subsidized and not necessarily cost effective. I don't know if they're planning on using something like solar cell technology, in which case the life of solar cells is typically about 30 years, and sometimes they don't actually pay for themselves under amortization. The other thing I would be moderately concerned about is just the fact that such technologies actually generate a lot of chemical waste that people don't anticipate when they're advocating for such technologies. And so I would say that if they pay for themselves, but not if Golden Valley residents are asked to pay more than what they would in order to get the energy supplied. Thank you.
Jacqueline Smith.
So solar panels sound like a great thing, but it's the long-term investment. I remember Hennepin County a few years ago wanted to put a bunch of panels on some libraries and things like that, and it was going to take something like 21 years for the cost to come even, for that cost to pan out. I don't know if that is a long-term investment. If something's going to take 21 years, I know things in technology has grown and things like that, but if it's cost effective, I think it would be worth looking into. However, just what I know about it, it doesn't, with Hennepin County, for example, it doesn't sound like it's cost effective.
Andy Snow?
I think it's a great idea to look into. I think it's important to us to look at something that's a little bit more environmentally conscious. Solar panels and alternative energy can't provide all our power, but it would certainly help. We could be less reliant on electricity and gas, and that may help in our bills and help us save money. Also, at the legislature this last year, a lot of incentives have been put into place to help provide for solar panel and alternative energy, including a program called the Guaranteed Energy Savings Program. Using this program could help get some great rebates and help pay for the installation of those solar panels. Then after that, we would realize the savings that it could bring having alternative energy, as well as having greener energy and encouraging our residents to do so if Golden Valley did so as well.
Okay. Larry Fonest?
I would say generally the larger question here is alternative energy sources. We look at our world and at the city we live in, and we see creeping pollution and degraded environmental systems. I think that government leaders have an obligation to look at all alternatives, gauge their cost effectiveness and the quality of life that they will bring to a community, and then make an informed choice as to whether or not that is something that will work, in this case, well for Golden Valley.
Okay. Simon Gottlieb?
I think solar panels is a very good idea to explore. However, I worry that the long-term financial impact may have more unintended consequences than once thought. And I also worry that projects like this may look attractive in the present, but as I believe Paul said, the issue with chemical waste and things of that nature worries me for the long-term impact of a project like that.
Okay. Bob Hearns?
First, I think it would be great if we had a community center that could support solar panels on its roof. But having said that, I think whenever we're looking at renewing our infrastructure, we need to take a broad look at all options. And I think solar energy is certainly one option to look at. I don't think it's ever wise to rule anything out without giving proper study and consideration. I know when I was on the Robbinsdale School Board and we were rebuilding our elementary schools, we had to make many choices on cost effectiveness, and I think as long as the council has the appropriate data, it can make wise decisions and can make decisions based on whether that is a cost-effective solution at any given time.
Okay. And Greg Gibbett?
I think that one of the responsibilities of a city council member is to look at it as a research job, and I think this is an excellent example. Initially, it looks like it's a great idea, but what are the long-term costs as opposed to the benefits? Not only the cost to put that in initially, but to mitigate any waste, to maintain the system for the life of the system, 20 and 30 years from now. There may be initial subsidies available to help mitigate the initial cost, but will those subsidies be available 20, 25, 30, 35 years from now when that system needs to be disposed of or replaced? We have a limited number of resources available. Everybody has a limited amount of money. We need to really research where we want to spend that money. If the community feels that this is a valuable way to spend money, then that's an excellent idea, but I think it requires a lot of research before it would be going forward.
Okay. We'll go on to the next question, and Jillian Rosenquist, you will start this one. In what way is your vision for Golden Valley different from the Golden Valley of today?
11 years in, with many, many years ahead of me, 3 small children in a public school here, and a massive investment of remodeling of our home. I'm in it for the long haul. And I would like to see things like a greater connectedness. I'm looking at our routes to our parks, our routes to our gathering spaces, and I want to make sure that they're safe for alternative forms of getting there, biking, walking, and certainly living by the Courage Center, I look at the differently abled. And I also want to see us, my passion really is that we can use our parks as gathering spaces, as day in and day out places that we can bring our communities and neighborhoods together.
Okay, Paul Schofield?
One way I might want to see things different is perhaps to see a greater availability of restaurants, especially perhaps some foreign cuisine restaurants. Just my own personal enthusiasm, though. Although I would, to the extent possible, work towards that in the city council as well, to make sure that we make our inspections while guaranteeing health, not oppressive, and make sure that our code is accommodating of even perhaps different style heating implements. That said, other things I would, well, frankly, there isn't very much I would like to see different about Golden Valley. I like Golden Valley a whole lot. I like the way it is. I have to say that I probably agree with Jillian as well, that our parks are a central part of what makes Golden Valley great. And sorry, but I can't do anything but wax enthusiastic. Thank you.
Jacqueline Smith?
Golden Valley is a lovely place to live. It's just a charming place, and I'd like to keep it. I'd like to keep that charm in Golden Valley. Something that concerns me is the light rail coming through. That's really going to break up our environment. It may. There's my son and I go sledding, and my parents took me sledding at Theodore Worth, and I can't imagine coming down the hill and seeing a train every 15 minutes going through there. So that does concern me, because once you build the train, you can't go back. Another thing, if that train is put in with all the wires and everything too, if it's there and it's not used in, let's say, 15, 20, 30 years, we're still going to owe the government all of that money, the federal government, that the grants and things, we have to pay that off. So like to see our schools still be strong and great support in our community, and like to see the crime rate still stay down, to support our police and fire.
Andy Snow?
Thank you. I think Golden Valley is very unique, and I do like it the way it is, but I think that the future will come that we will have to expand Golden Valley a little bit, offer better transit than we do, bring neighborhoods closer together. Like in the question of the other forum, there's some great division within our city, and those are the major highways that we have. And I would like to see our city be closer together, build neighborhoods, and build communities. And maybe we can do that with better bike corridors, safer sidewalks, better sidewalks, things that will really bring us together, better routes to parks, like Julian said, and just bringing our neighborhoods back together. Also encouraging smart development. I think 15, 20 years from now, Golden Valley is going to look a lot different. We have to be at the forefront to make sure we develop things and really preserve what's unique about Golden Valley and start making it a destination city.
Thank you. Larry Finest?
The population of Golden Valley has actually decreased over the last 30 years. And I would propose that we need to revitalize our city and attract younger families and young professionals back into the mix. We have an aging housing stock, and we have an aging population. I think through smart development, including commercial, retail, and new housing starts, we can attract into our community more of the vitality that I mentioned earlier, and build a brighter future for ourselves and for our young people. To that end, too, I agree that we need to connect our neighborhoods by bikeways, hikeways, greenways, and where needed and possible, bridging across highways. Thank you.
Simon Gottlieb?
Well, first of all, as we all know, Golden Valley is an excellent place to live, especially a great place to raise a family. And I think something very important to look for the future is more smart and beneficial development to take advantage of our proximity to downtown. As Larry said, bring in younger people to start their families that may work downtown in that area, bring them in to have them start their families here and grow here and start their businesses here. and move on from there.
Bob Hearns?
As we've heard from the other candidates, Golden Valley clearly is a special place to live. I am concerned that over the past 5 to 10 years, we've been a little too passive with regard to our redevelopment efforts. There really hasn't been, in my opinion, enough effort to develop a plan. Where do we want the city to be in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years? While Golden Valley is special the way it is, we do need to plan for the future in order to keep our property values up and allow people options to stay in the community and attract new families. I also think we can do a better job engaging our school districts, the Robbinsdale and Hopkins school districts, to build the communities that and the neighborhoods that are so important to the fabric of our community. So I think with a more proactive approach to development and engaging developers that we can build the Golden Valley of the future that we all can be proud of.
Okay, great. Kevin?
I think one of the first things we need to do is make sure that in the long-term future we're committed to our continued public safety and to the continued maintenance of our infrastructure. But when we're maintaining that infrastructure, I think it's important that we start looking and planning for alternative transportation to make sure that as we're changing roads, changing highways, that we're including pedestrian access, bicycle access, taking advantage of any mass transit. One of the things I would really like to see is an increase in a downtown area as a destination. I look across the street at the West End and I look at the amount of revenue, the amount of people, the amount of community that's brought together. And I'd like to see a downtown area that in Golden Valley is a destination, not only for Golden Valley, but for people from outside of Golden Valley as well.
And Chris Miller.
Thank you. I will, say what everyone else said, that, Golden Valley is a great spot. I grew up in St. Paul, and living on this side of the river, that's a big no-no for people, but I don't plan on really going back there. I love Golden Valley. One of the things for myself, and I know I have a friend here in the audience, he's got a one-car garage, I have a one-car garage. That keeps younger families away, right? It sort of sends them out to Eden Prairie, and then they realize this really stinks to be out here. I got to come back in. And that's what happened to me, and that's why I've been here. I'd like to see Golden Valley in 10, 20 years very similar to how it is today. Light rail scares me. That whole project really scares me. I don't think that we really have the full scoop on that. And that would be a big change to Golden Valley, but I think there's also great opportunity continuing the development along the 394 corridor and the opportunity as well up on 55. I think, with that area, as he was saying, being a destination area, that's a great possibility for Golden Valley.
Okay. Well, we've heard about light rail from some of you. Now we're going to hear from everybody. And Paul Schofield, you'll start this. What is your position on light rail in Golden Valley?
Well, it's not clear that light rail would be good for Golden Valley. In fact, I think it would quite likely be harmful, starting with the fact that probably the train station might be located in a wooded area where it probably won't be the safest for people to leave at night, which comes, I might remind you, quite early in the winter time in case you've forgotten. That said, I would also say that aside from the environmental impact statement that everyone is concerned about, they might be concerned about crime incident maps of cities where rail occurs, and you can't find such maps on the federal Transit Authority's website. However, I will just note that the Mall of America noticed a significant decrease in shoplifting when service for the Hiawatha line ceased for about a week. That said, that isn't my only concern. My other large concern about light rail is that no person in their right mind would pay the $17 a ride that it would take to cover the operating expenses of light rail. Thank you.
Jacqueline Smith?
Theodore Wirth is over a 100-year-old park. Theodore Wirth was the gentleman who developed and designed parks in Minneapolis. It's 724 acres of land. We can't get any costs. We just have estimates. We have to sign up for local government aid, which that has criterias that you have to meet to pay light rail. I'm not 100% against it. In talking to the people, the residents in Golden Valley, a lot of people want the light rail to go down Highway 55 into downtown Golden Valley. Why are we keep proposing taking over Benilde the church, St. Margaret of Mary's. I even go to Mass there sometimes. And then the fire station. Why are we proposing this? Why is it stuck in that area? Hennepin County's selling point is you're 10 minutes from downtown. Well, I'm 10 minutes from downtown in my car. So it's
Thank you.
I don't know. Is this good for Golden Valley? I
Thank you.
don't believe it is.
Andy Snow.
In late 2012, the Golden Valley City Council voted to get back on board with the Botno study, and I think that was a good idea. I think expanding transit in the metro area as well as Golden Valley and giving us more options is a good idea. And I know there are some concerns about the Botno line going through the park. Now that Golden Valley re-engaged itself after that vote, now we have more citizen input. We have residents coming out and expressing their opinion more, and I think that's really what we need to do. In a few years, we'll be making a decision. This council will be making a decision, municipal consent, to go forward with that decision. And I think that I will do my best to gather all the information I can, get all the input from everybody that lives in Golden Valley, and make the right decision, whether or not it's a good idea to get Golden Valley to support that municipal consent vote. Thank you.
Larry Fonest?
The Twin Cities metro area is the 12th most congested area in the country. And here in Golden Valley, Monday through Friday, we have 30,000 people who commute in to go to work, and that's more than the population of the city. We do need to look at alternative transportation, public transportation, to bring folks into our city and through our city. Now, I have concerns, as other members of the panel do as well, regarding light rail transit in its current route along Theodore Wirth and the Mary Hills Nature area. I am going to be very studious in looking at the environmental impact study that is produced, looking at the other various health studies that are produced, and also talking with the powers that be at the county and Met Council levels to see what linkages we can make to downtown Golden Valley.
Simon Gottlieb?
Currently, I am against the proposal as it stands right now, partly because the citizens of Golden Valley are so spread out in their views on it. And frankly, I can't get behind a project that has so many different viewpoints and so many people agree or disagree with it. And I don't think that's a really good way to represent the overall community of Golden Valley. And it also worries me that the Met Council, who is not elected by people of Golden Valley, by the way, is trying to push this on us when they don't know the consequences that it could have on our landscape. They don't live here. They don't work here. And after talking with people going around the neighborhoods, I have realized that public transportation is an issue. But this leads me to believe that another alternative could be better, could be more cost-effective, it could limit the environmental damage, and I think it could ultimately be a more appropriate solution for the citizens of Golden Valley.
Bob Hearns?
I think it's important to recognize that the Botno Transitway is a regional project, a regional transit project, and it's important, my view is it's important for Golden Valley to be actively at the table in the planning for that project. As we've seen with our neighboring community of St. Louis Park and Minneapolis with the Southwest Light Rail Project, we've seen how a rail project can impact a community. And it's important for us to be at the table to make sure that our concerns are met, to make sure that if ultimately the decision is made to run the light rail through the proposed path, that Golden Valley's needs and concerns have been addressed through that process. I also know that many of our businesses have challenges with the current public transportation system that we have in getting their workers to and from work in Golden Valley. So I don't think it's wise at this point to completely rule out light rail as a possible solution.
Greg Kevett?
There's an admitted need for mass transit and public transportation. That may be light rail, it may be some other options. I have some concerns about our current light rail situation. The first one is, as someone spoke to earlier, initially the City of Golden Valley, the council turned that down. And all of a sudden, Hennepin County and the Met Council took a great interest in what was happening in Golden Valley. Lo and behold, shortly thereafter, it was back on the table, and then it was passed. I believe that the citizens of Golden Valley know best how they want their city to look and how they want their city to function. They should have the loudest voice in how that happens. The other thing I haven't heard is any discussion of other alternatives. The Met Council came in with 3 options. This is the preferred option. It was the only one that was really discussed. I think the planning for this, or the finalization of this, is a long ways off, but I think it's important that Golden Valley start looking now at, is this the right option for Golden Valley? And if it is, what can we do to make sure that it provides best for the citizens of Golden Valley?
This is a hot topic, especially if you're walking up in the neighborhoods that this is going to impact. First off, we've talked a lot about taxes and now light rail. Low property taxes and light rail, those two things do not go together. Look at Minneapolis if you think that they do. Secondly, I don't think that people that live in Golden Valley are really going to be using the light rail system. We mentioned 30,000 people that are coming into Golden Valley to work every day. They are not going to be taking light rail to General Mills, to Honeywell, and to places like that. The costs of light rail are only estimated, as was said earlier, and I think that we're going to really sort of be held holding the purse, at the end of the day, and we're going to have to cough up a lot of money for this. The Botno line was originally supposed to be a bus rapid transit. There are a lot of our good arguments to support bus rapid transit, and it's just as effective as the light rail. I think people, especially if you don't live near where it's going to go, it sounds cool, so everyone's like, why not? But I think the facts aren't being delivered to us. I think glossy presentations are what changed the City Council's vote last year.
Jillian Rosenquist?
As a resident of that section of Northeast Golden Valley that is going to be most directly impacted by light rail, I've spent a lot of time with this issue. I had a neighborhood meeting at my house with over 50 people and most of the City Council well over a year ago. I've been appointed as part of the Open Space and Recreation Commission to the Botno Light Rail Policy Advisory Committee, and have been going to some of those meetings. I really feel that we have well-founded concerns, but it is critical that we stay part of this planning process to make this regional development something that works for Golden Valley. There are opportunities here that we can make the best of. The choices between the two stations are on the table, I understand, for the next 2 years. We have to be part of the planning, and we have to be the voice for our community in that planning.
Okay. And we'll move on to the next question. And Jacqueline Smith, you will start this one. One of the important things for a city council to do is develop a strong, positive, respectful working relationship. What would be your plans or strategy to do this?
Well, I agree with that. I think it's a simple response is you treat others as they treat you, or you treat others how you like to be treated. So I think being a council member, you have to listen to the citizens and give them a voice, because there's only 5 of us on the council, and so you really have to listen to that population. Things like light rail, we have to get all the facts. I'm not 100% against light rail. I would love to have light rail if we had 4 million people. We don't have 4 million people in the metro area. Citizens aren't going to walk 4 to 5 blocks with their groceries here in Golden Valley to use the light rail. The North Star light rail isn't profitable, so it may not be profitable. Botno line might not be profitable.
Thank you.
So, yeah. Thank you.
Andy Snow?
Yeah, I think consensus and compromise are all good words. Respectful dialogue, I think that's really important when building a community and working on the council. I could work with any of these people here, any people that are on the council now. I think that's really our number one job, is to work together, move Golden Valley forward, and that's what I intend to build with the other council members and the mayor, the staff. That's really what we need to do. We need to work in the best interest of everybody in Golden Valley, and most importantly, listen to everyone, get all the facts before decisions are made. I would work towards all those efforts to build a better community.
Okay. Larry Fanes?
Well, I would hold up what's going on in Washington, D.C. at the moment as what we don't want to do. I too, believe in collaboration and compromise where it makes sense. I do believe that there are values that people need to stand up for, but they can do that in a respectful, civil, and, again, inclusive sort of way. We need to have dialogue. We need to welcome citizens, listen to them intently, respond to them respectfully, and carry on the business that we are elected to carry on with.
Okay, and Simon Gottlieb?
Could you please repeat the question again?
One of the important things for City Council to do is develop a strong, positive, respectful working relationship. What would be your plans or strategy to do this?
Well, first of all, I think that we would all need to agree that any decisions we make, anything that we propose, comes from the bottom up, from the residents. We must take all of those differing viewpoints into account, and like everybody else has said, we have to work respectfully and collaboratively together to come to the ultimate decision. I think that we need to be accepting of diverse viewpoints so we can get adequate representation from everybody across the board. But at the same time, I think that we also have to be critical as to what people's arguments or viewpoints may be, just so we can get the precise information we require to make an effective solution.
Bob Hearns?
I think whenever a group of 5 individuals, diverse individuals, comes together to work collaboratively on behalf of a community, it's important, number one, that you establish some ground rules and some operating principles. I would hope after the new council is seated in January that the council could come together to lay out a plan for how they're going to work together. And hopefully some of those principles would be treating each other with respect and dignity, being a good listener, and working toward a common goal of making sure that Golden Valley is the best community it could be. I think it's real important that laying that foundation early on when the council is seated.
Okay, Brett Kivett?
I think everybody involved, I think the current council, I certainly think everybody who's sitting up here, I think the residents, everybody wants what's best for the community. Nobody is out to sabotage the community. Nobody is going to purposely bring up bad ideas to make things go wrong. No one person has the best answers. I certainly don't have the best answers. I have some ideas. Many people with many ideas are what we need to find. The more people involved in a decision, the more people involved in discussion, the more ideas that you're going to have, the more consensus that you're going to build. And I think that's important, to sit and listen to what everyone has to say, understanding that it's not personal. Everybody is looking for the best solution. Everybody is trying to move the city forward and make the city a great place it is to live. So I think the more people involved, understanding that those people want what's best for the city, is going to lead to the best solutions.
Okay, and Chris Miller?
Thanks. I think that all of us would want to be able to compromise and work with the council, interact positively with the residents, take the input from people. Really, it's key to understand, hey, what's the problem, right, that we're trying to solve before we can come up with that solution. If we can define that, we're halfway there to that, that compromise. Again, I think we're lucky in Golden Valley to have a full audience here tonight, a full panel of people that have put themselves out there to run for the city council. The one thing that does concern me, though, is both the DFL and the Republican Party now starting to sniff around City Hall a little too much. And I'm worried about what their influence is going to do with the nature of the city council historically being able to have worked well together. I think that's a point that we really have to watch for.
Jillian Rosenquist?
I'm here because so many people, so many community leaders, and a wide variety of them called me up and said, we would like you to run for city council, because I have connections to the community, both school districts, people across Golden Valley, and I believe that I could bring that deep connection to the city council to be able to bring people together and develop warm relationships that result in good solutions for our citizens.
And Paul Schofield?
Would you repeat the question, please?
Okay, and this was the, all right. One of the important things for City Council to do is develop a strong, positive, respectful working relationship. What would be your plans or strategy to do this?
Humor. I'm an authentically funny person. I know a lot of really good Metropolitan Council jokes that I think, I would share with everybody, but it would probably take more than a minute and a half to set it up, so I'll have to wait. Also, I think that that brings to mind that we in Golden Valley have a lot of adversaries out there that we all share in common. So I think the Golden Valley City Council has a lot more in common. We have differences among us. For instance, I also know a lot of good Fiscal Disparities Act of 1971 jokes. One of the worst abominations that ever hit Golden Valley. When we rejoice at the pittance of LGA money we get from this legislature, we should also be saying, why don't we, and as council people, maybe we would all conspire together and maybe talk with our legislature about relieving us from the Fiscal Disparities Act, or at least mitigating that problem. Thank you very much.
Okay. And we'll move on to the next question. And Andy Snope, you will start this one. The cost of city services are increasing, yet Golden Valley is not substantially growing its tax base. How would you grow the tax base in Golden Valley?
Well, I think it's important that we encourage smart development in Golden Valley to broaden our tax base. As another council candidate here mentioned, when you look across 394, you see a great development that has broadened St. Louis Park's tax base, made that section of St. Louis Park a destination. And so, all too often, Golden Valley seems to be kind of a pass-through city. And all too often, I find myself leaving the city to go out to eat or for entertainment. And I think we could have more here. I think if we encourage development, that will broaden our tax base, and that's what I would look at doing on the council.
Okay. Larry Fonest?
I concur with Andy's comments. I was out door knocking 2 Saturdays ago, and door knocked at a woman's door, 72 years old, and she comes out and she tells me that she's looking for a job because she's worried she is not going to be able to pay her property taxes, which are coming due. I think that there's enough burden on private residents and their property tax at this time. We need to look at wise development along the 394 and 55 corridors, both commercial, retail, and housing of a dense nature, that will attract younger people into the community, attract business. We need to lift the city up, put a welcome mat out, and say, look at what Golden Valley has to offer, and invite businesses and developers to come into our city and make a difference.
Thank you. Simon Gottlieb?
On the same token as Andy and Larry, I also agree that we need to make Golden Valley more conducive to responsible development. And like you said, use our geographical advantages and our proximity to the 394 corridor, and 55, and downtown to make people want to come here and develop here. And I think that if we implemented something in downtown more like a West End area, I think that could greatly increase our tax base by bringing more businesses as well as more people to come, and even more people to come live here as well.
Okay. Bob Hearns?
Smart redevelopment and increased housing options are the key to keeping Golden Valley's tax base strong. I think we want to be able to shape the redevelopment that goes on in Golden Valley. For those of us who have lived here a long time, we see the redevelopment that went on in downtown Golden Valley here. That took 20 years to accomplish and a lot of hard work to see it come to fruition. And we need to start planning for those kinds of things in other areas of our city. I think we also have to take a look at our zoning ordinances to make sure that they are relevant to today's market, so that in some of the areas in Golden Valley where we have houses now approaching 60, 70, 80 years old, that people have options to sell and have that property perhaps redeveloped. We've seen that going on now in Edina to some extent, and I think, again, we need to shape that so that any redevelopment efforts or rebuilding of our housing stock is done on our terms and to the benefit of our community.
Craig Kivett?
I think that we need to make it attractive for businesses to want to come to Golden Valley and open, and the only way we're going to do that is to make Golden Valley a destination. We need to get people to stay in Golden Valley or come to Golden Valley. Lots of ways to do that. As I've mentioned before, an entertainment complex, a West End kind of thing. Perhaps there's an opportunity to dovetail this with light rail. Instead of a light rail cutting through one quarter of Golden Valley, what about a station that maybe has a park and ride lot and includes some coffee shops, restaurants, a place now that people will stop and get their coffee before they get on the train to downtown, ride the train to a restaurant. We need to look at all of these options. And the other thing we need to do, as Bob said, it took 20 years to convert downtown. We need to be more timely than that. We need to get that happening in a much more speedy manner.
Chris Miller?
With regard to growing the tax base within Golden Valley, first I would want to ask, what are we trying to grow the tax base for? You know, what's the reason we're looking for additional funds? And I think that's going to lead us to the proper answer in how to come up with those funds, whether it is business redevelopment, and we should be encouraging businesses to come into Golden Valley, but we need to let business owners come and do that, right? We can't be heading up the development, but obviously we need to be very involved with that. You heard the housing stock mentioned. Again, my house is a 1952 little Rambler with a one-car garage. While it's great for one person, it's not good for a family with 3 kids. So being able to change zoning so that people are able to either add on or redevelop those homes is an area to do that as well. Thank you.
Jillian Rosenquist?
Many of you know that Meadowbrook Elementary School, where my kids go, is a school of choice, and that a majority of the students there are actually open enrolled from neighboring communities. And so we do know that Golden Valley is a community of choice, a destination, and I think we can capitalize on that with smart growth and development. We have amazing people that volunteer their time and expertise on the Planning Commission and within Golden Valley, and we can rely on those people to help us come up with some really good plans.
Paul Schofield?
This isn't just a shtick, but could you repeat the question, please?
Okay. The cost of city services are increasing, yet Golden Valley is not substantially growing its tax base. How would you grow the tax base in Golden Valley?
Well, I guess I would be concerned that, as at least one person on the panel here has suggested, that if we're always looking for more growth in our spending, perhaps we need to have a little bit more discipline. However, I would say that if we're going to have growth, and especially successful and effective growth, and I would have to say that looking across the street from my house, yes, West End is a very successful and effective development. A big part of that is that I think they were open-minded in St. Louis Park and didn't insist on building downtown St. Louis Park around City Hall, which is on Minnetonka Boulevard. I don't even know if anybody knows where St. Louis Park City Hall is. But that said, I think we need to take advantage of our highways and make sure that our flow away from highways is effectively done. I'd say the Louisiana exit on 394 is an example of rather poor flow management, although I think also the northeast corner of 169 and 55 would be an excellent place to be looking at. Thank you.
Jacqueline Smith?
I agree with Chris Miller, saying if we're going to expand our tax base, what are we going to spend that on? Currently, Golden Valley has a $1.2 million surplus. We have a surplus, and we just raised the tax levy 2.9%, which is around $491,000. Plus, for the first time since I think it's 2002, we're receiving local government aid. So we're a lot of money is coming into Golden Valley, but what are we spending it on? We've also increased utility bills to pay for a 1.5-mile stretch of road on Douglas Drive, the redesign, with 2 roundabouts. I understand we're getting local government aid, but with that local government aid, we have to meet criteria. And things like roundabouts, when I'm talking to residents, they're not happy about the roundabouts. Why do we need 2 in 1.5 mile of road? I understand sidewalks and bike lanes and things like that, but we have to be fiscally smart here.
Okay, and we'll move on to the next question. Larry Fonest, you will start this one. We live in a metro area. We are not an island. Explain how you would collaborate with other local communities to keep Golden Valley strong, efficient, and cost-effective.
Well, as we look forward in time, I think municipal governments, all levels of government, will need to become more efficient and effective at delivering services to the public. And I think it's the responsibility of civic leaders, in this case the council, to look to neighboring communities and form joint partnerships where it makes sense in terms of water, fire, police, and other services. We're not an island. We do need to collaborate, and I think in collaborating we can find greater efficiencies.
Okay. Simon Gottlieb?
I also agree that collaboration with other city leaders is imperative to accomplish a goal like this, just for the fact that more ideas are presented that we as a council may not have come up with ourselves. So I think it's important to discuss with the other cities around us, what they're doing, what's working, what's not working, and also to engage in service projects together, collaboratively, that we can split the cost with, become more effective, and ultimately serve their greater purpose for the city of Golden Valley and the people in the surrounding areas.
Perns?
For city Golden Valley size, collaboration and cooperation with our neighboring communities is critical to our success in keeping the cost of services low, whether it be mutual aid agreements with the police and fire departments, the Joint Water Commission, some collaboration on our park and recreation programs. That's the way we keep our taxes low and provide quality services to our community. I think the issue of tax base came up, and one thing that I don't think we've talked about enough here tonight is the importance of quality schools in keeping our tax base up in Golden Valley. And I think we can do a better job collaborating with our school districts to make sure that all of our schools in Golden Valley are schools of choice, and we don't have a lot of people open enrolling because they view some of our schools to be substandard. So I would work hard to build those bridges to both the Hopkins and the Robbinsdale school districts, as well as our parochial schools.
Greg Kivett?
We've seen the good effects of some collaboration already. The 394 corridor that we worked through with St. Louis Park, the 911 dispatch system, the water and sewer. We're doing a lot of collaboration already. Golden Valley is not going to come across a problem that is unique to Golden Valley. Like we talked about earlier, the more people you talk to, the more ideas you have, the better opportunity you have for coming up with a better solution. I think that our neighboring cities and even cities that are not right against us have all faced issues before. Let's get as much input from these cities as we possibly can to look at the solutions. My only caution to that is, again, we are Golden Valley. We have to be sure that the citizens of Golden Valley's interests are protected before everything else.
Okay, and Chris Miller?
Yeah, with regards to collaborating with the other communities, obviously we are not an island. We need to work well with the folks in St. Louis Park, Robbinsdale, New Hope, and Crystal. And I believe as part of the responsibility as a council member, it's for us to be reaching out to those other council members, right, so we can establish that relationship so we are able to compromise when situations do arise. There's a lot of things now, a couple of things rather in arbitration right now between the cities and some disagreements with some funding. And those things are going to happen, but again, if we have a good relationship with them from a working perspective, we should be able to get through those. I believe that being able to share services, whether that be leaning on them for police or fire or snow removal, things of that nature, where we can help each other out, that's another way that the cities are able to save money by having greater buying power, if you will, from those service providers.
Jillian Rosenquist?
I think there are lots of great examples about current collaboration. The Joint Water Commission is one. Also, I know through the Open Space and Recreation Commission that I serve on that we've been talking with Three Rivers Park districts about doing programming in the Mary Hills Park and talking to the city of Robbinsdale about that kind of collaboration between Robbinsdale, Golden Valley, and Three Rivers, and Sahaki Park and Mary Hills. And also, I think, again, back to the light rail issue, it's really important for us to be engaged more than just on a city level, but on a regional level with the Met Council and the Hennepin County Commissioners to make sure that regional planning works well for Golden Valley.
Paul Schofield?
Well, golly, I had all my notes about the Joint Water Commission and Three Rivers Park District. Bassett Creek Watershed. And I was just going to point out that that among the joint commissions that we've been talking about, typically the best ones, I think, and the most effective ones are where we're actually discussing a shared resource or a common resource like the Bassett Creek that communities share, or perhaps shared responsibilities like 911 dispatch. But one thing I would be cautious about is the kind of cooperation that the Met Council imposes. I think the Metropolitan Council, being an unelected body, sort of like the AT&T of government entities, has a habit of treating its subordinate municipalities with less respect than coercion. And I would want to make sure that we make sure to represent Golden Valley aggressively in the presence of coercions that perhaps larger entities will impose upon us. Thank you.
Jacqueline Smith.
So I agree with everyone else's, we need to collaborate. We're not an island. We have the water, the sewer, 911, just what everyone else said too. And we also have to protect our charm as well. You beat me to it. I was going to say we could collaborate if the Met Council and Hennepin County would let us, because they do have a lot of doctrine, and they do tell us how to live sometimes. So I do support collaboration, things we can also learn from other cities, like with our storm damage in the spring. We had $75,000 worth of damage in Golden Valley, and we made an insurance claim, and now we're getting FEMA, and what FEMA doesn't pay, we're going to get state aid. Well, New Hope, for $1,000, they just had their citizens come and drop off all of their branches, and they did a chipper shredder, and the company drove away with all the chips. So $1,000 is compared to,
Thank you.
making all these claims.
And Andy Snow?
We don't live on an island. There's a lot of services that we share with other communities. One is electricity. We don't generate our own power. We buy power from XL Energy. And the subject of the storm this year, XL became kind of an enemy, but they did a pretty good job after 5 days of getting it restored. But there is one group that we need to build a relationship with. We need to find out what their maintenance program is to prevent those huge widespread outages like we had. So that's a good example of where we need to collaborate and cooperate. We need to also cooperate with other cities around us, the Hennepin County, our commissioners, build those relationships, and, yes, build those relationships with the Met Council, too. They are an appointed body, but we need to get in there and fight if we need to, but we need to build those relationships and work with them.
Okay. Move on to the next question. We moved here for many reasons, but one being that Golden Valley has a very diverse population and is a very welcoming city. How can we continue to foster this? And Simon Gottlieb, you will start this one.
One possibility I know that has been in discussion is building a community center. I know that a location has not been specified and the finances of that have not been worked out, but I think that's a really, really great way to get people to interact, connect with each other, and even meet each other that haven't met. We could hold, community events there, like the organization Larry started, or the Night to Unite. We could hold events like that, get to know your neighbors, anything such as that could take place in a community center, which would obviously get people more engaged and willing to talk to each other and build a greater sense of community amongst all the residents of Golden Valley.
Okay. Bob Hearns?
The diversity of our community is one of our strengths, and diversity comes in many forms. I think the important thing is to embrace that diversity and really take advantage of it and build on neighborhoods. I think there's a lot more we can do with organizing neighborhoods and bringing people together for a common good. I think a great model that can be used to do that is the neighborhood watch model that Golden Valley used to build very strong neighborhood watch groups. I think we can expand that concept to put together named neighborhoods like St. Louis Park has to, again, bring smaller groups together that have common interests toward the benefit of the community at large.
Okay. Greg Kevitt?
I think one of the things about keeping Golden Valley's diversity up, which we've done a very good job with now, but we have to appeal to a great number of people. I happen to be an outdoors person. Other people are not outdoors people. I think we need to make sure that we continue to have not only a great variety of parks that offer different things for different people. We have playground parks. We have athletic parks. We have woods and walking parks. I think that it's important that appeals to a broad range of people. A broad range of events, the night-to-night, Golden Valley Days, things that will appeal to a great number of people and bring a great number of people out. Housing is another option. I happen to like the type of house that I live in and where it is. Other people may like apartment housing. Other people may be looking at townhome housing. We have a lot of that in the town now, and we need to make sure that we continue to keep that variety open that will attract a variety of people.
Thank you. Press Miller?
With regard to diversity, yeah, Golden Valley is a diverse city, right from Fortune 500 companies to, John Giese owns a small sewer company. So there's some diversity there. My neighborhood, all different types of people that live in my neighborhood. I don't really think it's our responsibility to push diversity for the sake of diversity, but at the same time, I do think that we can really leverage our park systems and really have that as a central meeting area for different neighborhoods within the city. The 27 different parks, I think, would be a great way to really get people to know each other more within that area, of the community. And I think just doing that, people are going to be friendly. It's going to drive more people in, really by word of mouth, into Golden Valley. I have 3 friends that have moved into Golden Valley in the last 2 years strictly because of word of mouth, because people like it.
Thank you. Julian Rosenquist?
People meet in 2 different ways generally. Diverse bodies of people come together in schools, and diverse bodies of people come together in gathering places, be they parks or kind of shopping areas like Golden Valley Commons. And I really think we need to build on that. At the last Open Space and Recreation Commission, Rick Burno, the new director, did throw out the idea that we look at our shelters as multi-use, year-round facilities that we can use as neighborhood gathering places for programming, neighborhood meetings, building upon that new idea that the council's been doing, which I think is excellent. One of the things I've noticed on the Botno planning process is that other communities have neighborhood associations, neighborhood groups that larger entities like Hennepin County and Met Council can turn to for advice. We don't have that, and gathering places are a place to start bringing neighborhoods together.
Paul Schofield?
Well, this is the United States. It's not a real surprise that a city would be diverse. I hate to say it, but I think it's a rather provincial attitude to believe that we are uniquely diverse. There are lots of places that are diverse. I think the thing we need to do is just make sure that Golden Valley is the best darn place that anybody would want to live in, and have them fighting to get here. And just so long as we don't have quotas that say you can't live here if you're X or Y or Z, then I think we're going to have diversity because everybody's going to want to live here, and I think that would be all that we need to do. I think that to try to do something aggressively and somehow quota-driven to figure out how we can get people to meet together is unduly busybody-ish. I think we can just let it happen because that's the way the United States is. Thank you, and I'm done.
Jacqueline Smith.
We do have a diverse population in Golden Valley. It was mentioned earlier that maybe we can expand Golden Valley Days. It would be nice to have some ethnic, to celebrate ethnic holidays. It would be kind of fun to do that, and we have many parks to do that in. There's all kinds of things we can do with that. But I think I think Golden Valley does have a strong community here. Another way that we can help build community is to have, to look at our business opportunities here. To help people grow business in Golden Valley. I think when you look at some of our existing policies and verbiage and some of our licensing fees, our fees can almost be double or triple of other cities for small businesses. So I think that would be helpful in bringing more diversity to our community as well.
Andy Snow?
Well, this is a question that we constantly ask ourselves on the Human Rights Commission, and I think it's really important that we recognize our diversity in Golden Valley, we respect each other, and most importantly that Golden Valley is welcoming to all those who want to live here, and that services are given out and provided for equally amongst everybody that lives here, and I think that's so important. I think what we really need to think about is education and getting people out, having maybe some cultural events for people to realize other people's cultures, lifestyles, upbringings, and again, community events like was mentioned here. The ability to get people out and meet each other and find out who their neighbors are. I like the idea of neighborhood watch groups. I think people watching out for each other is really what brings people together, and I would encourage more of that. Thank you.
Okay, and Larry Fonest?
In order to build community between diverse populations, it's been my experience that you need to be purposeful. And it's been suggested to me by several people in the community that I've spoken with that we could look at having an arts and cultural commission as a part of city government. We have the Purpose Center here in our backyard, and yet I and many of you, I'm sure, don't really know what's going on at the Purpose Center. By having an arts and cultural commission made up of diverse populations and diverse interests, I think we could foster a more welcoming and inclusive community that would make people from various parts of the country, various parts of the world, feel more like they were a part of our community.
Okay, thank you. Well, we've run out of time for questions. I'd like to thank the audience for submitting so many good ones, and unfortunately we couldn't ask them all, so I encourage you to stay afterwards and ask candidates any questions that you want to get an answer for. It's now time for our closing statements, and each candidate will have 1 minute, and we're going to begin with Bob Hearns.
Again, I want to thank the League of Women Voters of Golden Valley and Ms. Wickstrom for holding this forum tonight. And I want to acknowledge and congratulate and thank the other candidates for their willingness to serve our community. I feel blessed to have lived in Golden Valley for the last 58 years. My wife Gail and I have raised our 2 daughters in this community. I built a 30-plus year career in public safety working for the city of Golden Valley, and this community helped elect me as their representative to the Robbinsdale School Board. All of these achievements would not have been possible without the overwhelming support that I've received from this community over my lifetime. I hope to continue my service to this community as one of your city council members. As we have heard through our discussions this evening, Golden Valley will be facing a number of challenges in the coming years. I believe that my longevity in the community, knowledge of and experience working in our city government, and my track record as a collaborative leader will help me meet those challenges on the Golden Valley City Council. Finally, I want to thank my wife Gail, daughters Kristen and Kelly, and my son-in-law Ryan for their support during my campaign.
Greg Kevitt.
I'd like to thank everybody also for coming. As I've said, I like to see a lot of community involvement. The more voices we hear, the better ideas we get. I think we all agree Golden Valley is a great city. It's a great place to work. It's a great place to live. It's a great place to raise a family. The people of Golden Valley, I believe, know best what it takes to keep the city great. I think all decisions, whether it's projects, policies, budgeting, need to be made with some basic guidelines. Is it what the people of Golden Valley want? How will it affect the people of Golden Valley? Does it make Golden Valley a better place to work and live? And is it the way the people of Golden Valley want their money spent? The city belongs to the citizens of Golden Valley. They should have the biggest voice in how the city is run. And the money belongs to the citizens of Golden Valley. They should have the biggest voice in how the money is spent. Thank you.
Chris Miller.
I want to, likewise, thank the League of Women Voters for putting this on, for everybody for running and being up here. I think that Golden Valley is going to be in good hands with whomever is fortunate enough to win the election. I do hope that you vote for me, Chris Miller, on November 5th this year. I think a lot of people know at least one person up here, and I'd really like to earn that second vote. And I've been learning a lot about the people of Golden Valley, throughout the campaign. There's three things that I want to point out that are important to me: to keep a lid on property taxes, private property rights for people with a lot of development going on, and to keep the positive direction that has been established in Golden Valley by the previous city councils. Again, we all know that we're very fortunate to live in a great city, and I hope to be able to serve on the city council and represent you on the city council here in November. Thank you.
Jillian Rosenquist.
Thank you again very much to the League of Women Voters and to our audience for asking such great questions. I think this is just the beginning of our conversation and beginning of our engagement. I encourage you to check out my website at Jillian Rosenquist, and that's Jillian with a G, .com, and on Facebook and Twitter, GV Jillian. And I just have a deep sense of service, a deep connectedness to this community and its civic organizations and institutions. And I hope to bring us together to do smart planning and to keep Golden Valley unique, vital, and evolving. Thank you.
Okay. Paul Schofield.
Yes, indeed. I'm Paul Schofield, and I'm running for Golden Valley City Council, as I mentioned before, to ensure that we homeowners and taxpayers have a strong advocate in the City Council. We need to keep Golden Valley a safe place to live, a healthy place to raise a family, and an easy place to own a home or to run a business. Our government officials and engineers must remain our employees and not become our bosses. I will put us first in Golden Valley. I hope that over the course of these discussions tonight, you have seen that I would bring some thoughtfulness, common sense, fiscal responsibility, even frugality that you would want to bring to the City Council if you were sitting on the City Council. I hope that would lead you to vote for me, Paul Schofield, on Tuesday, November 5th. Again, I will put us first in Golden Valley. You can learn more about me and many of Golden Valley's issues at paulschofield.org. Thank you.
Okay. And Jacqueline Smith.
Thanks again to the League of Women Voters for having us out, and for everyone who's attending and watching at home. I appreciate you being here. I am, being a longtime resident, I'm not part of the establishment here. I'm just like you, sitting in the audience. I'm running for a stronger Golden Valley, including making smart economic decisions and developmental decisions, making decisions that are based on what's best for Golden Valley. I'll go to every extent to protect our quality life in Golden Valley and to preserve our lovely charm here. And my promise is to listen to you and give you a voice in protecting Golden Valley in our bright future. So thank you. And you can find out more about my campaign. I have some literature out on the table out there, or you can go to Jacqueline Smith, the number 4, GVCC, GoldenValleyCityCouncil.com. Thanks.
Okay. Andy Snow.
Hi, thank you. I want to thank the League of Women Voters for putting this on, and everybody that showed up tonight to listen, and the folks on TV, and the candidates for showing up. We all have a passion for this office and for this city, and it's really empowering to speak with all of you and engage in this discussion tonight. Over the next few years, we're going to face many issues here in Golden Valley, and I'm ready to take on those issues. I'm ready to listen, engage in respectful dialogue. I think that's important. Help move Golden Valley forward with a new perspective while preserving what is unique about our city. If you'd like to discuss the issues with me further, I'm having a couple meet and greets coming up, and I encourage you to go to my website at andysnope.com. If you look at the events page, you'll find some events that I have coming up You'll also be able to look at all my issues and my opinions on the issues that face our great city. I really enjoy getting out on the doors. I'll be out on the doors tomorrow again. I've hit a lot of doors, and I'm going to hit a lot more, and I think that's so important and vital.
Thank you. Larry Farnes.
I'll add my thanks to the League and to the audience here and on television for attending this evening and giving us the opportunity to share our views with you. I have a real sense of stewardship in approaching this position, and I look forward to the opportunity to work with the council and with the citizens of Golden Valley to build a better Golden Valley going forward. I'm committed to making a difference and getting things done for Golden Valley. I'm also committed to open, responsive, and accountable city government that actively listens and respectfully responds to the citizens' concerns. I will work to hold down property taxes. I will strengthen neighborhoods with investments in recreation facilities, public safety strategies, and timely maintenance of our public assets. I will assertively promote smart economic development that supports good-paying jobs and grows the city's tax base. Thank you.
Okay, and Bob Hearns? Oh, no, I'm sorry, Simon Gottlieb. Sorry. You already had a chance. I'm sorry. On the wrong line.
First of all, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting and organizing this forum tonight, but I'd also like to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to come out here and getting involved in this important election. I'm very excited at the opportunity to serve you, and I look forward to making a real difference on the Golden Valley City Council. In the coming days and weeks, I will be in your neighborhood knocking on doors, and I look forward to meeting all of you in person and answering any of your questions and concerns. In the meantime, please visit my website at simongottlieb.com, where you can find my personal email address. Please feel free to reach out to me anytime to get to know me better, grab a cup of coffee, or talk about the issues. And remember, on November 5th, vote Gottlieb. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you to all the candidates, the audience here and at home, and to Northwest Community Television, Cable 12 News for taping this forum. And I'd like, again, to remind you to vote on November 5th. Now, Golden Valley Service Chair Gloria Erickson is going to have some closing comments and replay dates. Let's thank our candidates while she's getting up here.
On behalf of the League of Women Voters of Golden Valley, I would like to thank all of our candidates for being here tonight. We hope this forum has helped the audience here and at home to make an informed decision. A special thank you to Audie Wickstrom for being our moderator. I would also like to thank Northwest Community Television for making it possible to view this event at home. The replay dates on Channel 12 are as follows: Thursday, October 10th at 7 and 10 p.m., Saturday, October 9th, 10 a.m., Sunday, October 20th, 4 p.m., Saturday, November 2nd, 2 p.m., and Sunday, November 3rd at 7 a.m. There are also several replay dates on Channel 16 in Golden Valley. If you are interested in learning more about League of Women Voters, there are brochures on the table. League members would be happy to discuss League activities with you, and we would love to have you join us. And above all, please remember to vote November 5th.